Hi, it's Adrian Nelson here, and I'm a regression hypnosis practitioner. Um, I want to paint you a scenario, and I want you to just sort of picture yourself in that moment. So I want you to think of the beginning of a live music concert. Whoever your favorite artist is, it can be Michael Jackson, Beyonce, really whoever, Madonna. And normally when the show starts, you will see there will be bright lights. It'll be like boom, 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 and it will be all bright and all beautiful. Anybody who's maybe ever seen like a Sarah Brightman concert before, there's a whole lot of things that are happening at the beginning. And I think let's stay with the Beyonce sort of like example because I think just most people sort of are a little bit more familiar with Beyonce. So when you imagine, like they normally do all these beautiful things. So they have like some lights flashing, and at some point music will start, and then the music will normally be in a 342 hertz. Which is the same sort of tone that you had in your mother's womb as an embryo, and like obviously like you're developing towards a baby. And also remember that, as you came about, in your process of living, the first thing that you basically had, your indication of life, was your heartbeat. So that's like the boop, 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 like the heartbeat that a baby has. And obviously, as the baby develops, your heartbeat in a sense starts to match the heartbeat of your mother, and that is as a sense, it's seen as a whole sense of security. So it's very sort of subconscious when you go to like a concert, for example, or even when you listen to music. Sometimes they do it in movies as well, where you have the like the poof 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 poof, and it matches that sense of security. And then what would then, at some point happen with the flashing lights, what it normally does, it takes you into the REM state, sort of like almost like a deeper part of your mind. And then, and I mean, it's, I'm not picking on Beyonce, please don't get me wrong. I think she's absolutely astoundingly brilliant, But so at some point, maybe there will be big sort of like Celine Dion likes to do this as well. There will maybe like be like some big screens, and then a very amplified, huge version of, the artist will come on the screen, and they will sort of like say something, and you'll be like, oh, and they'll have like more boom, boom, boom lights until finally the person arrives on the stage, and everyone like, wow, and sometimes people are so overwhelmed. Some of you that may have seen those. Michael Jackson concerts, or footage of those Michael Jackson concerts way back in the day, I always used to make fun that I say it's almost like a waste of money to buy like golden circle tickets at a Michael Jackson concert, because Michael comes on and goes like boom, and the whole, the first two rows are just like, passing out, and then he stands there and it's like all frozen, and then he goes like, ching, and then another three rows pass out, and but it's really just becoming overwhelmed. But it's not necessarily a bad thing, because people are normally out, and then 10 seconds later they're back again. Um, but what I'm just really trying to say is that there are so many ways in which you are being subject to regression hypnosis without even realizing it, which really brings home my point that you don't, it's, hypnosis is not about falling asleep. It's not about losing control of your mind. And even with all of that being said, just because artists and, sort of like brand ambassadors and whatever, lightning technicians and whatever, sound technicians, just because they use those things doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing, because I mean, obviously, say for example, I'm a speaker, and I'm going to speak to a lot of people. I want to meet you at the height of the best of my vibration, and my vibration of love, and my vibration of light. And if you are a conscious person, and you sort of work with consciousness, you want to meet people at their sort of height of their being as well. So it's not so much about controlling your mind, it's more about placing you in that space of energetic, positive sort of flow. All right. And I mean, it's done a lot. It's done another way in which you are being hypnotized often, or what some people would call, your mind is being programmed, same thing really, is, for example, with billboards. You drive past the same billboard every day or every night or whenever, and you keep on seeing the same billboard. And, then when you go to the store, let's say maybe it's something for shampoo, then you end up like, oh, I need to get that shampoo. And you may not even link that to the billboard that you saw every day, And it usually goes along with something like, you deserve it, you're worth it, try this, something new, something great, something fantastic, something exciting. And so your mind really absorbs that, all right? And um, what I'm just really trying to explain to you is that regression hypnosis in itself is a simple thing. We go into trance several times a day. It's got nothing to do with mind control, it's got nothing to do with trying to change who you are. It is more about presenting you with different choices so you can make a better informed decision. So here's an example. Let's say, for example, you've got a situation happening in your life, and say maybe there's another person involved as well. In the human sense of things, we look at things from very wide, like from a very, you know, a personal point of view, very one-sided, very tunnel vision sometimes, because we come with our emotions, and a lot of times we even think that the emotion that we're experiencing is based on what is happening right now. But in the same way that our body stores cellular memory, our consciousness, our being, our DNA stores sort of like emotional memory. And so something that happened in this lifetime or in a previous lifetime um, can still have an impact on how you experience this life. Because the thing to understand is that your consciousness is ongoing. Your consciousness doesn't start when you're born and sort of leave when you're dead. It's like taking off the t-shirt and just putting on another t-shirt, but it's the same consciousness. So even when you do past life regression and you're like like a different gender or whatever the case may be, maybe you're not even human, it is that part of the consciousness that you go to that explains things to you. Where did this originate? We call it in regression hypnosis what is the core initiator of the circumstance that you are having. Okay, so what then happens is when you go to this core initiator and you sort of communicate to it, to this ongoing mind, that what, it's not really necessary to keep this going any longer. I know that maybe, 2000 years ago, this is the sort of protection that you required, or maybe this is how you felt and that sort of thing. But going on in life now, that is no longer necessary. You can let go of that. And that is also one of the reasons why your life has this tendency to quite often improve quite drastically right after a regression hypnosis session, because it's almost like a lot of us don't realize the baggage that we carry with us. And if you think in just this lifetime, and when you do clearing for things that you picked up in this lifetime, it's called timeline healing, which also goes along with a practice where you can almost go back to the womb of your mother, because a lot of times patterns are set in there already. Because remember, as a human being, you are physically part of your mother, or you were physically part of your mother. You are literally a physical extension of your mother that is now walking out there, or living out there or doing your thing. So, in the same way that whatever your mother sort of placed in her mouth, you experience the emotions, you experience her thoughts, her beliefs. In that 9-month period, you form a very close bond. And then obviously, in majority cases, that after your birth, you're still going to spend a significant amount of time with your mother, with your father in most cases, or whoever is sort of like the predominant influences in your life. And those people come and bring their own energy and their own ideas, and you sort of learn from them how to deal with conflict in the world, and how to deal with good things in the world, and with compliments and with insults, and like whatever really happens. And so up until about the age of 6.5, 7 years old, you are really being trained, sort of like what this life thing is all about. And sometimes the people who raise you are very conscious of this, and sometimes they're not conscious of it. And it's literally almost like the difference between consciously training a puppy and actually consciously not training a puppy. You get different results. It's the same puppy, which is still going to have its own sort of core personality, but the influences in its life at a very young age sort of determines how that puppy is going to grow up and what kind of human being, it's going to become. So with past life regression, or really just regression hypnosis, which really is just hypnosis as we sort of know it in a clinical form, but regression hypnosis just goes deeper. All right, so it goes to past lives, it goes to healing in the womb, it goes to a very fascinating period called life between lives. And this is really incredible because life between lives is where you experience being in the quantum field, in the all being, without having a body. So you're not human, you're not an animal, you're not a plant, you're not a breath of wind, you're none of those things, because all of that is consciousness. And when we say that we are all one, we literally mean that we are all one. We are all one expression of love, that experiences this expression in all different sort of ways. And so what we almost do is we kind of come to Earth, and we have experiences there, and we sort of, we sort of give feedback to the allness of who we still remain, even though you're not aware of it. And the universe is ever expanding, so our experiences that we have here and our choices that we make has an impact on everything and everyone. And so when you have a session, you sometimes realize that, listen, I'm carrying this baggage with me, and I've been carrying this baggage with me throughout this lifetime. Maybe I've added some things in this lifetime, other people's thoughts and ideas and beliefs of who you are. And they said, oh, you're too sensitive, or, you're not good enough, or that's never going to work for you. And our mind sort of takes on all those things, and every time it gets placed in the back and placed in the back and placed in the back, along with the good things that says, oh, you're strong, you can actually do that. No, that's a good thing for you. You've got this, you can find a way. All of it placed in the back. And then after a while, the back might become a little bit uncomfortable, from the things placed in the back in this lifetime and in other previous lifetimes. And so when you come for regression hypnosis, it's almost like saying, okay, let's take the back off your shoulders, let's open it on the table, let's unpack everything, and let's see what's happening in this bag. Okay, so we've got a couple of root ideas here for you, and these root ideas is forming the core belief about who you are. All these different ingredients. It's like you put a whole lot of different things together and you end up with a stew or a cake or whatever. So we said, okay, so there's a belief here. And the thing is to remember is that we're not consciously aware of these things, all right? Because a pattern operates optimally when we're not aware of it. So there's a belief here that that you're not strong enough. Would you like to keep this belief? Would you like to have the consequences that this belief brings to your life? And you'd be like, not really, not that pleasant. Okay, so I may say to the belief, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate everything that you've done. There might have been a time when you were very valuable, but, it's time for you to skedaddle now. Thank you so much. Peace and love and light. Bye, bye, bye. And sometimes we get the angels to come in and help us. Your soul family often comes in to help. Your guardians, your guides, your angels, your ancestors often come in to help. And then we look at the ideas like, okay, so what are the ideas that are working really, really well? Okay, those are working really, really well. Let's dust those off a little bit. Let's push them a little bit more to the front. You're strong enough. You've got this. You can do this. All right? So what then basically happens is you kind of, it's almost like doing an audit of your mind and saying, what beliefs that I have are beliefs that I choose to keep in my life for whatever reason, and what beliefs that I have on a subconscious level that are not serving me well, am I now in a space where I am ready to peacefully part ways with those. That's really what regression hypnosis is. And because you change the subconscious belief about who you are, your life begins to change. Because from all the information that our senses take in, only about 10% of that is pushed to our conscious mind. And whatever's pushed to our conscious mind becomes our conscious experience of life. Because you look at, like physics and things like that, it shows us in real proof that the world doesn't exist. We conjure it up from our subconscious, and then by observing it, we're making it true. And that is really how the whole law of attraction and all those type of things work. The wonderful thing with regression hypnosis is that, we are normally in the beta wakeful sort of state when you, like me speaking to you right now, it's in the beta wakeful state. But then with regression hypnosis, we start by taking you down to the alpha state. And the alpha state is this is the creative state. This is where where the dreamers and the artists are getting the inspiration from. This is the space where you can directly communicate with source. And this is also because it connects you to this quantum field. Why, when you have life between lives, where you are just pure consciousness, pure potential, really. It's a beautiful sense of freedom, and that is why you're able to access that, because you almost get like a heightened experience. Because also what happens is when you close your eyes, you sort of like cut out like up to 85% of your conscious surrounding. So even when you're in trance, if you close your eyes right now, you're still going to be aware of what's happening around you, but you're not going to pay so much attention to it. Then when you focus on your breathing, it brings you into the present moment. And then when we count downwards, which normally happens in regression hypnosis, it automatically takes you down into that alpha state. And there's a couple of other things that we can do as well. But at no stage are you really not in control, gone like a light. And also, I think something that I'd like to clarify, which there seems to be a lot of uncertainty and fear and misunderstanding around, especially in the more sort of spiritual, holistic, or esoteric sort of community, is that during the regression hypnosis state, your energy, so to speak, your vibration is very heightened. And because it's heightened, you are not actually a vibrational match for lower vibrational beings. And in that heightened state, we normally do what we call a body scan, and we say, okay, there's different ways to do it, but a simple example would be something like, let's fill your whole body with light. And let's see if there's maybe parts that are not that bright, or parts that's a little bit off, murky, gray, whatever. Also because I'm a natural intuitive. I've been born highly intuitive. I started my life with an NDE, with a near-death experience. I'm a Reiki master. I'm a crystal healer. I'm able to see your energy. Whether it's an online session, whether it's an in-person session, I'm able to really see your energy, and I can sense when there is something, or even see when there's a darker energy trying your shenanigans, and I'll be like, we're not going to do that here, And I think just lastly, when we tap into this all consciousness, we sort of tap into the allness of who we've always been. And it's such a beautiful experience, because sometimes, people make connections with source itself. They go to this beautiful place where you just rest and rejuvenate, maybe get some clarity about your Akashic records, or just really like your life purpose. Why did you come here, which is wonderful. A lot of people have regression hypnosis sessions because they want to know, why did I come here? Why did I choose to come here? What is my purpose, And that answers it for you really beautifully. And I think what I like so much is that, if I do just an intuitive channeling session for you, or like a tarot reading, for example, I still give you the information, through my filter into your filter. And there is room for almost like misconception sometimes, And the benefit that I have, which is so great, is because when you think about it, language, especially English, it's sort of limited when it comes to the descriptive capabilities. And so sometimes when I have a client and I don't really know, I get what I get, but I don't really know how to convey it to you. What I would do is I tap into my psychic being. And for those of you that are interested, I've actually got this incredible 8 weeks mind unlocking psychic development course. And it's taught by a private Facebook group. There's links down in there's information down in the description, or you can email me if you want to know more about it and you want to join it, because that really changes your life. But what I would do is, when I don't know, is I listen. I work with my spiritual team, and they call themselves Smile. And I say to them, okay, what do I need to say to this person, to this client? And I will listen, and I repeat verbatim what they say to me. And that's an ability that can be unlocked within everyone. And I think the amazing thing is that post-regression hypnosis session, you actually get a lot of clarity in your life, and things start to unfold for you really beautifully. And the reason why that happens is because your mind no longer has to maintain all these I won't call it false beliefs, but these beliefs and ideas and values, and seen as virtues within yourself, that are not serving you in positive ways. And so those are released, and it brings forth those things that actually are. And that is really the wonderful, incredible thing about it. And it's just amazing. It's just life-changing. It's incredible. So if you are interested, I do I personally do very limited amount of sessions, two, maybe three for the most per month. I would post the dates on my website normally. What you can also do is, if you want, you can join my mailing list. There's a link for it down below in the description. So when I send out the dates, you get to see first when they are available, because as I said, I only do two, maximum three per month. And then I also, to help you build a closer relationship with your mind, I also give you a 40-day post session sort of like worksheet, very simple things like 5 to 10 minutes a day, that helps you to build a stronger connection with your mind. And when you follow that, you it's like you get 1,000 times more benefit from the session itself, because you build a stronger relationship with your mind. All right. So if any of you are interested, have a look at my website down below. Send me an email, and we set up a session for you, either in person or online. From my heart, namaste. Love and light.